Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to talk about today's video. It's something a little different than what I've done before. It's a comparison between two different versions of the same figure. Or is it not the same figure? Of course, I'm talking about Luke Skywalker and his pilot gear. We don't see too many of these released in the Black Series line, so I figured I'd attack it today. The first version is his classic pilot uniform from the original Star Wars, and the other is his pilot gear from the Battle of Hoth and Empire Strikes Back. The two of these figures were released almost 10 years apart. While very similar, they're two entirely different figures. So let's not waste any time and take a look at these guys. Let's start with the original. This particular version of the figure is from the archive wave. From what I understand, it's a complete copy of the original. Unlike many of the re-releases from the Black Series line, this version of Luke seems to have gone unchanged. It looks much like he did when he was new. By design, the figure is sturdy, and as you can see, it's hard for me to articulate the joints as they're very stiff. Not sure if this is by design or if I don't handle this figure enough. As far as the detail goes, it's pretty good. It's a great representation of Luke during the Battle of Yavin. The head is of an early mold that is seen on the Lukes released early in the wave, such as the Stormtrooper disguise and the Farm Boy fatigues. While the color of the hair matches the color in the movies, the attention to detail is awful. You'll see a lot of splashing into the areas of the figure that are of less detail. This could have been an issue with the archive wave, or it's just a manufacturing error with this particular purchase. The helmet looks pretty good, but if I were to nitpick, it would be the poor attention to detail with the stripes running on top. The accessories given to Luke are his lightsaber and a DL-44 blaster pistol. The lightsaber makes sense to me, but as far as the blaster, he didn't use it until the sequel, so I'm not sure why Hasbro decided to package it with him. However, I was a kid once, and the more accessories the better. Unless it was Power of the Force from the 90s. Forget that. I'm not sure if this is one of the first figures to offer this feature, but for display purposes you could disconnect the lightsaber blade from the hilt and attach it to the hook on his belt. This is a neat feature considering the character doesn't need to have his lightsaber out all the time. It would have been nice to see a holster given to Luke for his blaster, but it wouldn't have been movie accurate. I think I've covered everything I wanted for this figure. Let's take a look at the other Luke. Initially released in the second wave of the Empire Strikes Back 40th Anniversary Black Series assortment, finally have a variant of the Rebel pilot uniform worn by the members of Rogue Squadron at the Battle of Hoth. There were prior releases of this version of Luke, beginning with that awful muscular version from the 90s. However, I think the size of the 3 3/4 hindered the potential for releasing an accurate version of this figure. Hasbro really hit the nail on the head with the Black Series. The detail in this figure is beyond amazing. This version of Luke seems to have every detail on the figure that there was in the movie. From the beefier looking flight suit to the gloves. Hell, even the helmet looks really good. Much better than his Black Series predecessor. And like the other version, you can remove the flight helmet, but I must say, he doesn't look good without it. It's not that the detail is off, but rather the detail is very good. Hasbro gave Luke the insulated cap the pilots wore during the Battle of Hoth. I would just keep the helmet on. Even though the figure is a lot thicker than the prior release, he's sure a lot more flexible. I'm sure it has a lot to do with the improvements made upon the design of the newer Black Series releases. My only gripe is that it feels like the boots could snap at any time. I mean, look at them, they're barely attached to the rest of the leg. Also included with Luke is a blue lightsaber. A much better looking color, as his blade was never a true blue. It always had a lighter tone. For display purposes, the blade can be removed and the hilt can clip onto the hook on the belt. An excellent feature that remained consistent with these subsequent releases. No blaster this time, which I appreciate. There was never any blaster on screen when he jumped out of the cockpit while crash landing in the snow. If only there was a way to display that scene on my shelf. After comparing both figures and reviewing what worked and what didn't, I've decided that the better figure is the later release of Luke. Hasbro took the foundation for the pilot figure and drastically improved on the design when they released the 40th Anniversary wave. I'll be bold enough to say that this version of Luke is not just my favorite Luke Skywalker, but probably my favorite figure in the entire Black Series line. I'm sure once I purchase and review many other figures, I may find a new favorite, but as of now, it's this Luke. So, that'll do it for today. Thanks for tuning into the channel, and if you liked the video, be sure to check out all my other videos, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And I'll see you next time with another exciting toy review.